Hello and welcome to the Ohio Arts Council's Riffe Gallery. This is an Ohio Channel spotlight on the Riffe for the 2025 Biennial Juried exhibition. And we are here with the jurors of the show. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Deidre Hamlar, the director of the Aminah Robinson Legacy Project at the Columbus Museum of Art.
And I'm Charlotte Gordon. I'm the artistic director of the Southern Ohio Museum in Portsmouth, Ohio.
And I'm Wendy Earle. I'm one of the curators at the Akron Art Museum in Akron, Ohio.
So something that you all should know is that there's a little bit of a difference between a juried show and a curated show. And so we'll talk a little bit about that in this next little bit. So juried shows, folks submit their work to be considered. And so we put a call out for the biennial and we had nearly 2,000 pieces submitted, which meant that each of you had, nearly 700 that you had to sort down. And I asked them to bring that down to just 50 pieces, which is incredibly hard already. To the resulting 61 pieces that we have in this show. So folks, talk a little bit about that. What was important when you were looking at the pieces and trying to winnow it down?
For us, I think one of the most important criteria was diversity. We judged blind. We had no idea who the artists were. Their names were not a part of our submission. So we certainly had some folks who we suspected we knew because we're all familiar with artists in Ohio. But we wanted diversity in terms of geographic area to represent the broad swath all over the state. And I think we were looking for diversity in terms of media as well to really represent the large variety of materials that artists are working in today.
Right, and we were given also artist statements by each of the artists in each of the submissions. And I was really struck, when we look at any given body of artwork that's created, we can't take it out of the point in time and history that it's being created. So a lot of the sentiment that we were reading about in the statements were people diving into their backgrounds. And so to see how those explorations found their way into visual languages was very, very interesting.
Absolutely, and two things that struck me outside of the diversity and looking at the personal stories lending towards place and space and time was the materiality and how they used the materials to expose all those things. And there was such a breadth of not only material, but practices that led to the outcomes. We were in awe of the many uses, scientific, natural, from materials that were found to materials that were made. I was struck by the intelligence of the artists, and I was taught a lot by jurying this process.
They had a tall task, a very tall task, and lots of conversation to try and get it down to what we have in this exhibition. So I think it's time to have a look.
Well, I want to talk about this work here, which is by Elisha Frontz from Dayton, Ohio. The work is called The House Always Wins, and it was completed in 2025. This work evokes so much emotion personally for me. Elisha's husband's father had Alzheimer's disease, and when they went to clear his home, they found lottery tickets that he had purchased, numbering in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he had spent, probably fueled by his dementia. The lottery tickets were what he left behind. And Elisha decided to use these lottery tickets in this work to create a quilt. So the quilt is made up of lottery tickets, and the batting on the back is fabric sewn with this really striking red thread. The story is also more predominant because Elisha's context in making this is also thinking of mothers or elders and what they leave behind. What kind of wealth do they leave behind for their family members when they go? I think this is speaking to our culture in so many ways. It talks about wealth, it talks about material inheritance, it talks about inheritance of even disease in our culture and what happens with people who suffer things like Alzheimer's disease. And then, do we balance how we treat our elders and how we care for our elders? Is it more significant what they leave behind? And in this way, she honors the whole subject matter by creating something beautiful, this lovely quilted, it looks like fabric, but it's actually paper, this lovely composition which shines, and it also tells a story. So I really appreciate this work.
I would like to speak about this piece by Leah Wong, Moving with Skylight. These are 9 panels of cut paper. The paper is hand painted and hand cut. These are not laser cut. It is all done by hand. These 9 panels are each individually standalones, but together they flow into each other. And they tell this really wonderful narrative story. You have the referencing of the history of cut paper throughout many cultures, but it's done in a very, very contemporary way. And within the panels, each tells its story and then flows with as if the morning light were flowing through it. You've got small little villages, you have lotus leaves, there's references to water, there's references to land and landscapes. And it's all hanging above this, this mylar, this reflective surface that gives you yet a whole other perspective on the piece. The shadows that it casts, there's so many different views and perspectives of this piece.
I'm standing in front of this work, Tokapus, by Michaela Vivero from Newark, Ohio. At first glance, when you're across the gallery, this work is staggering. It's so large and tall, and it has this quality that feels like it's an archaeological relic that's been unearthed. But it's actually gold leaf painted on handmade paper. It's a process that is very intricate, and it's very time-consuming for the artist to do. And it's based on tokapus, which are an Inca design from ancient Peru that are almost exclusively found in textiles that are intricately woven, and each individual design would have been the trademark of a particular important person in Inca society. And this is based on a textile that's in Dumbarton Oaks in Washington, D.C., very famous within the study of pre-Columbian art. So as soon as I saw it, I was immediately drawn to it because I recognized this design, as will a lot of people. But in translating this from a textile to a painting, the artist has updated it in some ways for our generation, but she's also called attention to the ways in which we perceive value. So in a lot of ancient societies, what was most valuable was the thing that took the most amount of work, labor. And in some societies nowadays, it's about the materials, the gold that would have been so expensive. In some ways, she's making a commentary, I think, on what we value and what things are worth, and in some ways, hopefully flipping it on its head so we understand that this is a handmade work of art. This would have been incredibly labor-intensive for this artist to do, and we should value it for that, not just for the gold. So I think there's a lot of different layers to this piece. It's a stunning piece artistically and compositionally, and I hope it will stop and make people think a little bit about how we interact with artwork in our society and what we truly value.
I would love to talk about this work by Dragana, Crnjak. I love the title, The Day It Rained Amber. You see there is a shadowy aspect to this work. However, there is a brightness, there's a hope with amber coming through. And the light that's floating within the shadows is a perfect reminder that there is hope in the world when things are troubled. I love the aspects of even sort of the moon-like figure that's sort of in the middle to the left, juxtaposed with the shadows behind it. And while these are floating figures, you can bring yourself into it and create the objects that you want to create. You can see birds, you can see clouds, you can see smoke, you can see whatever you want to see, but in it, you can also reflect on yourself and how you're feeling, which is what I love about it. I love the abstract nature of it. The use of olives and oranges and browns are really also perfect for this season of fall.
In the museum world, we classify objects, and art is classified as communication objects. And a lot of communication is storytelling. And this pair of figures by Juliellen and Byrne, entitled The Swim, are really all about narration and storytelling. Stories are passed from generation to generation about incidences and families, funny stories. And I feel that these pieces are interactive. They are telling a story. And then we as the viewer only can bring to it our own stories and our experiences. And so here we have these two figures, and we first think, what is the relationship of these two figures? Are they siblings? One's older, one's younger. They're obviously been swimming, they're in bathing suits. So are we brought into their imaginative world in these swimming caps that have ears? Do they have ears, or is it part of the game that they're playing? There's a lot of intimacy and could be humor into this that you can read into this piece, but we get to also be part of that story. What are they doing? Has the artist given them animal attributes with the ears on their swim caps? This is an interactive piece that we get to tell the story as much as the artist is telling the story.
So I'm standing in front of a wonderful painting by the artist Mabi Ponce de Leon, who's from Columbus, Ohio, the title of which references the latitude and longitude of a site in the northern highlands of Peru, close to Machu Picchu. The artist is from Argentina originally and has moved to Ohio. So she is a great example of some of the dualities of the Ohio artists and what they bring. So she's coming from a different landscape completely and translating that in some ways to Ohio. When you stand in front of it very closely, it is so layered and intricate, and it's so abstract at first glance. You have to take a real step back to get a sense of the full landscape, and it's a wonderfully painted composition. The artist has built up layers and layers of paint. She's also integrating some pieces of paper that are very important to the overall narrative. She's even using a little bit of soil in her compositions. And the paint is so luminous and golden. It's just an amazing effect when you look at it in person. And it's a great example of the trust that we have as jurors in the quality of the artists. We did not get to see this in person. We only saw a very small digital example of it. But because the strength of her artist statement, as well as just a good sense that we have, an instinct, if you will, of looking at a lot of different artworks, we knew that this would be a wonderful painting and a great inclusion in this exhibition. So we really hope that people can come and see it in person, because it really does justify coming out here. And we hope that people have some personal reactions to it, maybe think about some of the landscapes that are important to them in their own stories.
This has been a Spotlight on the Riffe with the Ohio Channel for the Ohio Arts Council's Riffe Gallery. This was the 2025 Biennial Juried exhibition. I want to give a big thank you to our jurors, Deidre, Charlotte, Wendy, for a phenomenal job. A big thank you to the governor, the legislature, and the Ohio Arts Council's board, all who support the Ohio Arts Council, this great space, and of course, Ohio artists.